In this episode, Roa returns for quite the interesting duel. Hey there, my name is Rex, and it's time for episode 44 of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens. Now, as it seems like the tournament might finally actually begin. However, it seems like we've got just a small little detour here. Now, as the Goha president is laughing his way through the introduction to the tournament, it's kind of interesting to have a little conversation between Mimi and Goha as, Mimi's like, hey, let me take over. This isn't an opening speech. So then she starts speaking as we see that apparently, it seems like maybe there are different modes to the Goha drone and how much he can say. So now she's speaking in her voice, and this illusion's starting to fall apart as everyone's just like, President's acting kind of weird today. But now we see Roa show up with this band. It seems like we got the band back together as we have a nice little flashback as he even tells them, hey, you guys are my two, ace monsters. You're invasion and heavy metal, the royal demon cards that he has. And so everyone's back together, but apparently Roa just wants to duel against President Goha, with the stakes being if Roa wins, Roa gets to talk to Otis. But since Goha is apparently Mimi, if she wins, she gets a ticket to one of his shows. As remember, she's a fangirl. It's like, woman, calm down, you're 37. But quite the interesting duel as it seems like all this is going on. Like I said, I was hoping that maybe the tournament would finally start, but now we've got a little detour, and I guess maybe we'll talk a little more about that as as it goes along. But an interesting duel, one that I did not think we would get. Although during the duel, since it is still Mimi, she's using her own cards, but they seem to be a little adapted for her being Goha president, as now Dissonance is a prison guard and has a prison field spell, which is a pretty interesting strategy that she's utilizing now, as the field spell prevents level 5 and 7s from being tribute summoned, and then there's a trap card that prevents individual monsters being used as tribute material. So that's effectively locking him out from tributing bigger monsters, while she has Dissonance on the field, wreaking havoc and able to deal some damage. We see a lot more interesting conflict, I guess, with the helmet drone and Mimi specifically, in that, the drone let her have some control for a bit, and, is even letting her use her own cards, but apparently has his own card that he snuck inside the deck that effectively lets it, that basically controls her monster in the same way that now he's taken over. He's like, this is taking too long. Let me handle it. So he can just mind control as well, whoever he's wearing. So some interesting developments for that as well. I guess it would have made sense if the drone had kind of been controlling her basically the whole time, which might have made things a lot more easier. And again, if it's able to insert one of its own cards into the deck, maybe the whole deck could have been a lot better. It is technically a duel between Roa and Goha, sort of. It's more Roa versus Mimi and kind of Goha. But I would be really interested to see Goha duel by itself later on, the drone duel by itself later on, or at least, with its own full deck. If it's going to be more monsters, I guess, sort of like this. But for the most part, he's able to almost defeat Roa, but Roa gets a chance to survive with the trap card, and on his turn summons his two ace monsters. Again, the monsters that he said were representative of his friends, who were feeling not very appreciated now after he's dueling them, because he figures he only used them to get into the tournament. And it seems like, this is the moment that's going to be turning around. Oh, he summoned, the two monsters that are representative of his friends, but he tributes them off for a brand new monster anyway. So that road is going to be a little more rocky for Roa, just in terms of how much, his relationship with his friends, with his bandmates, just in general. Because, it seemed like that this was going to be some of the payoff, right, to their relationship that was pretty rocky, like way back in 2 arcs ago, technically. But now it seems like, that progress is kind of lost, which, is kind of unfortunate. And, you know, I was thinking, well, you know, maybe this is setting up for Roa to be maybe not necessarily a villain, but just a little more of the rival, the rude-ish kind of rival. But not so much, as, you know, with this new monster, Death something. But this big new monster, and I hate, because I just had the name, but it's a bigger new monster that destroys all monsters on his opponent's field, lets him attack in for game, and so now, you know, it seems like to everyone that Goha has been defeated, but in a duel, at least in a rush duel. But you know, it's more of like, oh, you know, it was a little friendly exhibition thing maybe. And again, you know, it wasn't technically Goha, it was more so Mimi rather than Goha, even though I guess Goha took over. Like I said, that's really why I want to see Goha duel by itself at some point. But in all the commotion, apparently Otis escaped with his portals just coming in and out. So at the very least, I like that. And I guess we do get the answer is that yes, he was locked up rather than, you know, just escorted off the premises. But now he's escaped. And, you know, what exactly Otis is planning to do, we'll see. But I'm thinking, you know, now that he's near the tournament, now that he's around, you know, it'll probably have something to do with that. But Roa now is without a team, and so is Yuga, as both Chevelle and Galliant are called off by Asuna. So now it seems like, you know, they're encountering they're going to be encountering the villain that was set up at the end of the last episode in whatever they're doing. So now both Yuga and Ro are out of a team, so they're like, well, you know, why don't we come together? And at this I was thinking, well, I don't know how I felt about this, because, you know, last episode we had already spent quite a bit getting everybody set up into teams, because Yuga's just been jumping from people to person to person, right, for his team. And I felt pretty happy with the teams that were set up in last episode. It's like, well, you know, Galliant and Chevelle, I like them, and I honestly love that they're sticking around and that they're friends, you know, with everybody. And so it's gonna kind of be nice to see Yuga with them. But now they're gone. Although on the upside, I guess, we get the absolute power team, as now it's Yuga, Roa, and Neil comes back. So honestly, that's just like probably the strongest team of anybody that's gonna be in this tournament. So, which okay, if it were just Yuga and Roa, I think that, you know, oh, you know, it's interesting. But now that Neil has come back into play as the wild card, I actually kind of like the idea of that team. But hopefully, you know, we can actually get to the tournament in the next episode. We can get things going. And I guess, you know, for predictions, like, obviously, you know, that's a power team, so they're pretty obviously going to get very far. But I would also like them to, you know, maybe in some way face off against Goha, or, you know, probably they'll end up facing off against the villain if he shows up and crashes the tournament. I really do hope that we at least get to see the tournament play out fully with, you know, the few episodes we have. But again, you know, with an episode like this, that was sort of a detour. It's like, now we get less episodes for the tournament potentially. So, you know, some mixed feelings personally about the episode, just in terms of like what it's doing. But at least ending with the prospect of a team of Yuga, Roa, and Neil, that's pretty sweet. But overall, pretty good episode. And like I said, I don't know, not super happy, at least with how some things played out, but I'm still interested to see where things are going. I mean, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s is still fun as always, and I enjoyed this episode. Again, I'm really interested to see how things go with Mimi and Goha. That's basically my takeaway. I really just want to see Goha duel by itself with its own cards. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Did you enjoy this episode? What are you looking forward to? And what are your predictions, I suppose, going forward? And, you know, how do you think things are going to wrap up? I'm hoping that at least we get to see the tournament out and the villain doesn't come in and crash anything, or Otis doesn't come in and crash anything. Well, I mean, I'd like Otis to show up in some capacity, but to ruin the tournament, I don't know. We'll see how that pans out. But if you enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe to show your support. You can enable notifications by clicking that bell icon as well. Make sure you see each new video as it comes out. Anyway, this has been Rex. Have a nice day.